Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the Reality of Real Estate podcast. I am one of your hosts, Christopher Lynch, and welcome my co-host.
Hey everybody, my name is Brianna Lehman.
We give you a real take on making homeownership attainable.
We will be breaking down real-life scenarios, trends in the current market, and giving you our personal tools to make homeownership not just your dream, but your reality.
Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and ready to take action towards building your own empire.
Because when you invest in real estate, you aren't just purchasing a home, you're investing in your future.
What's going on?
What's up?
Well, welcome back to Ohio. Since you were out there, just trying to get a tan.
I got a little bit red. I didn't really get a tan. I was like, all right, I'm going out. My skin hasn't seen the sun. Millennials, we're like all about skincare, no wrinkles. And I forgot to bring SPF. Like even my moisturizer, I left it at home. So I was sitting out in the sun and I could feel it. So I got a little bit red, not really tan, and now I got wrinkles. So don't look at them, but.
Why'd you point it out?
Well, you brought up my tan. It was nice to come back to see sunshine though.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't hot in Florida. It was mid-70s, which I think is perfect, actually, because we were at Disney World. So running through there, it was nice. But I was like, oh, gosh, I can't come back to coldness. Like, my seasonal depression will spike. And it's been nice since I came back. It's been sunshine, and you guys are welcome. I brought it with me, packed it up.
It actually got here over the weekend when you left. So
my sister was telling me, she's like, it's sunny. It's nice here. I'm like, of course. I leave, and it's nice there. But whatever.
It was 70, so you can take your 70 because I think it was like in the 40s, but it was sunny.
Yeah.
Very confusing.
It is confusing, but I'll take it.
That's fair. I like it.
We let a groundhog predict our future, so maybe he's right, though.
I don't understand it. I never have. And I've just, sure, if that's what you think is telling us whether or not we're going to have more winter or an early spring, go for it.
Addie is terrified of groundhogs.
I'm terrified of deer and groundhogs. There's a groundhog that keeps coming back that lives underneath my shed in my backyard. And I just want to let my dog get a hold of it one day. But I also don't want to have to clean up a groundhog massacre in my backyard.
Yeah, no. And we had a encounter with a raccoon in Disney.
Nope. Mm-mm.
We opened up the elevator. It's there. Before I could even say anything, she's hitting the button for the door to close, and we're going back down. And I'm like, Addie, go back up. So we go back up. The raccoon's there. It hisses at us again. She's hitting the button. She is panic. Full-blown panic. I'm pretty sure everybody at the resort could hear her screaming about this raccoon. But I was like, oh my gosh. She's traumatized. She's been talking about it since we got back. Even this morning, Mom, I hated that raccoon. I'm like, Addie, it's a raccoon. You would have thought it was a bear.
No, I gotta listen.
A bear, like Chris. I was like, look, it just wanted the trash it pulled out. Like, that's it.
Mm-mm. No, because what would happen if it got into the elevator?
I know. I thought about that so much. Like, what if it would have attacked us? And then I would.
No. Count me out. No.
She hit that button so fast. We were going down before I even knew it was going on.
There's no way. No, I'm on Addie's side with this one because if the raccoon would have got
its back was in the air, I was like, we are under attack.
There's.
Oh my gosh.
It was either
so funny.
Something would have died.
She said, remember an elf? Like, remember in the movie Elf? I was like, Addie, that is not what's going to happen here. It's not going to happen. But anyway. Yes,
oh, no.
That was like the highlight of my trip, actually. That was so funny. Oh my gosh. But.
Oh, yeah. No, thanks. Yeah. Now all I can picture is what would have happened if the raccoon would have gotten to the elevator. And if I would have ever, seen y'all again. Because
my mom said you would have got rabies. I'm like, Mom, don't tell her that. Now she's really so scared. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we're so off topic of what our topic is. Update on my credit.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I called them again. Couldn't get through to somebody who would be able to help me. So I have to call back because I was like, all right, I got to go. I can't sit on this. So we're still working on it, but it will be resolved. I will fix that.
All right. I like it.
Yep. What's
Fair.
going on with you?
Nothing. Haley and I went to Millersburg to the marriage retreat, and it was good. It's really crazy. There was day 2 was better than day 1 in my opinion. But day 2, it was like a lot of couples were just like there, and they could actually laugh about. You have 4 different, like he called them countries that your personality lives in, and whether you are a control person, a perfect person, a fun person, or a peace person. And Haley and I just laughed because I am a control freak.
Me too.
And she is like, everything has to be perfect. And it was just like, oh, okay. And then it was like, okay, do you vacation in some of these other ones occasionally? And I'm just like, yeah, I think I vacation and fun and perfect, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Peace. I know.
I haven't been to that country in a while. I should probably start vacation into peace.
But she's like, nope. She vacations between like, okay, yeah, no, it has to be perfect, but I want to like keep the peace and just like kind of keep things going. Like whatever is just like kids, don't want to do what needs to be done that day. Like it's not worth the fight for it. But then also like fun. So it was nice, but I didn't pay the $20 to actually take the test. There was a whole test and you had to pay $20 to be able to take it. And I was just like, no.
You could probably find a free one on Google.
Or I just know myself well enough to where I know. And
right.
We know each other.
For sure.
Well,
that's good.
Yeah. Then we came back and we were able to get back to where we started redoing our foyer. And yeah, we were just idiots. But like we haven't done a project like this at home. And I had like the sander going, but then our security system kept going off because of all of the dust and whatnot.
Oh my gosh.
And then I couldn't remember my verbal password to tell them how to like disconnect it. And then Haley's like, well, I think it's this. And I'm like, no, I think it's this. And
so did the cops come?
No. And then by accident, I hung up on the lady.
Oh my gosh.
And she finally was just like, okay, well, I decided to call you back because I can tell that you're in your house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, it's me. And she's like, I'm going to give you one more time to be able to tell me. And if not, I'm going to have to dispatch, the authorities out.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was like, I was right. What I thought it was the first time. And other than that, yeah.
That has happened to me showing a house where I didn't have the alarm code, or I think that the sellers thought they had turned it off and I couldn't get a hold of the agent and the police had come. And I'm like, look, I'm an agent. I promise I'm not breaking into this house. Yeah, that is awful. So now I have PTSD every time I see an alarm code when I get my showing notification. I'm like, okay. And then you have a countdown of like 60 seconds to find the control panel and disarm the alarm. It's so stressful.
Yeah. No thanks.
No. So what are we going to talk about today?
Not waiting for the perfect moment.
Okay.
And then also about how, I forget exactly what it's called, so viewers don't judge me for taking out my phone real fast. Okay, yes. Basically how 3 areas in Ohio, technically 4 areas in Ohio, are in the top 10 of emerging housing market.
Which is amazing. And yes. Canton is
Canton, Massillon, Springfield, and Columbus.
What number is Massillon?
Canton and Massillon, they got grouped together at number 3.
Which is crazy. So look up what exactly emerging means, because I looked it up the other day, but I don't want to botch the definition of what it meant. And I just think it's really cool because obviously we grew up in Canton, so I
grew up in North Canton. I don't know about you.
Oh, I grew up in Canton. I grew up on 12th and Fulton by Taggart. Okay, I grew up in Canton. So to see that area, especially the Hall of Fame, is unreal. That water park that they're building right now, it's almost done, right?
Yeah.
I kind of don't like the placement of it though. Because if you're coming up Fulton, you can't see. Me. They do?
Yeah, because people like are gross.
They're gross,
and they pee in the water.
They don't scare me. They gross me out. Like anytime we have a cheer comp at Kalahari.
No, like it scares me to know that I could potentially be drinking someone else's pee.
Why are you drinking the water?
If you go under, like, and the next thing you know, it goes up your nose and no.
Chris. Okay.
I'm not saying like, oh, let me go ahead and get a cup and fill it up and drink
That's like what little kids do. But anytime we have a cheer comp at Kalahari,
listen,
Addie's
I'm black.
like
It's a privilege to be able to swim.
Anyway, what does emerging mean?
So, emerging pertaining to the housing market means that the area offers shoppers or consumers lower cost of living, including home prices, and also thriving local economy to attract the immediate local community. Unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way, which we were talking about right before we started recording.
Right.
And where like I have a lot of clients who are out-of-state investors who will purchase in the city limits of Canton and Massillon just because of the ROI. And they know, like, if you can get a house for, especially even if you can get a duplex, and depending on like what the current market rate rent is, then like that's a win.
Right.
And
we get calls on our team every day from out-of-state investors. I think every single buyer's agent on our team has at least one out-of-state investor that's looking. Last year, I sold 4 or 5 properties from Canton to Akron to out-of-state investors. And we've talked about this a little bit, but people get upset about that. But there's 2 sides to that. Can we really be mad at them for capitalizing on our market if our consumers aren't doing it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that is awesome. Obviously, I think the Hall of Fame brings in a lot of...
Yes.
Because that's going to bring in jobs. You were talking about...
Diebold.
Yeah.
Basically, they're moving everything to North Canton.
Yeah.
Because previously, they only made certain equipment for ATMs out of the one in... I don't even know what street it's on. I just know that it's like catty corner to the fire station and kind of adjacent to the Hoover Company.
Yes. Yep.
Do you know where like the old
I know
Spitzer
exactly
used
where
to
it
be?
is. Yes. Because is it Whittier's back there? I sold a house like right behind it. Yeah. I remember when Diebold was over by the airport though. Do you remember that? Like off of shoot.
What
is that road?
What is it?
Starts with an R?
An R.
Is it not? I don't know.
Are you smoking?
No. Chris. No. I can't remember. Look up the airport road.
Lobby.
It starts with an L. I was thinking Ruby or something. I don't know. Lobby Road. Yeah. Do you remember that though?
On that road.
You were? Yeah. Okay. So Diebold, the Hall of Fame, bringing in.
I forget how, even it was in the paper, and I forget how many jobs that it said that it was going to offer. I would look it up, but I'm out of my limit for the month on Canton Repository.
I know. I can't stand that. I cannot stand it. Like, come on. Just give us the one article.
They want you to subscribe, and I'm not subscribing. I'll wait until next month and
do it again. Yeah.
Yes.
You get like one look too. It's so stupid. But anyway, okay. So with that being said, especially in our market where we service the most, we've had a lot of buyers want to wait for rates to come down or wait for more inventory. And I'm telling them, like, especially my buyers and you too, like, what's going to happen when rates go down? We're going to see an influx of multiple offers again, which I'm already in. In the last week, I've been in multiple offers 4 times.
Did you win your one from yesterday?
I won't know until noon today.
Oh, that's right. You said they weren't presenting until today.
But let us pray.
Yeah.
Amen. But I'm back in multiple offers every deal I write, which there were a few months where I was like, wow.
This is like easy. Like, you know, someone makes an offer and
we can negotiate.
Or it's like, a couple months ago, if you were in multiples, usually just from the conversations like between you and the other agent and going off of the very limited information that they can share about the other offers, you could at least, before an offer is written, put yourself in a position to where it's just like, okay, like
Right.
I feel really confident about this, and like we feel like we're giving it our best shot. So if we do win, amen. And if we lose, then
know
like
what to do.
we know what to
Yeah.
do moving forward.
And I had a conversation with those buyers that were still waiting to hear yesterday. And I was like, look, this is the reality. You guys have X amount of time to move. We're really getting close to that. The longer we wait, the closer we get to spring, the more rates, the talk of rates coming down, more buyers are going to start coming out. It's going to be harder. You're going to be paying more, and we're going to go back into that market. So
Yep.
there is no perfect time to buy, but if you're serious about it and this, what you say your goals are, that's what I'm here to do, is to help you get there. This is how we're going to get there. And they were like, okay, tell us what to do. So I feel better about it. Like I feel more confident, but especially because what did you tell me the other day about rates? I forget.
That according to the feds, basically come by May or June-ish, they should be in low to mid fives. That is what they are predicting.
So the buyers that are buying now at the higher rate, that puts them in a position that they'll be able to refinance pretty soon after that. But those buyers that are going to wait, we're just going to have higher competition, which is not something
You're going to have more competition. And like, just to be realistic for like viewers and listeners, there really isn't a perfect time to buy a house. There's just not. And so if you are someone who is on the fence about buying a house right now, do you want to wait until the spring or summer? And sure, maybe just because like inventory does spike then. But if you are someone who is stalking the market, and sorry to put it that way, but if you watch the market every single day and see what homes come available, do you take advantage of it right now at the current price that it's at and look into all of your options when it pertains to financing to see if it makes sense for you? And like, it's just not a perfect moment for you to say, hey, yes, every single star has aligned here for me to be in a position to buy right now, because whether it's today, it's 3 months from now, a year from now, something is going to happen to where it's not necessarily going to be perfect. So the perfect moment doesn't necessarily exist. There are great things that can happen, but it won't necessarily be perfect. And I don't say that to be insensitive. It's just right now what we see is that, especially if something is dated, you can maybe work in some concessions, or because it is dated, a seller is a little bit more receptive if you come in right at their asking price or sometimes a little bit under.
Right.
And just because the competition isn't necessarily there. And it really won't matter what the house looks like as soon as rates come down, because from a buyer's perspective, it's like, hey, like I'm paying X amount of dollars less in interest, and maybe I'd put a little bit less money down because I'm going to use the remaining money that I have saved to put into this home to make it look like what I want it to look like. Or they'll get frustrated like they did in 2019 through 2021 of basically feeling like a seller is obligated to update these things or automatically like take money off the purchase price because they feel like this is what it should be because it is dated. And that's just not necessarily the case.
Right. And that's just not going to happen. Whenever you're in these multiple offers, your chances of negotiating go down.
Yeah.
I lost in one, and the buyer said to me, well, they didn't even come back to us. And
They don't have
I
to.
explained to you, even if we're not in multiple offers, so legally the seller doesn't have to negotiate with your offer. They can say, I don't want this offer. I'm not countering, move on. But especially in a multiple offer situation, we got to give our highest and best. And there's ways to structure our offers that benefit both parties.
Yes.
And the thing about buying a house, I want more people to understand, is it's a long-term investment. It is the long game. Like, this isn't like you throw your money in Bitcoin or whatever and you get a return right away. I don't even know if that's how it works. So
it's not necessarily.
But still, this is a long-term
It's not like what is the new like betting app that all these like people
I don't know.
use?
That's what I was trying to think of. That's what I'm.
It's like the new like sports betting app.
Oh,
or whatever.
DraftKings.
Yeah,
I can't stand it, but yeah. But still, it's not that way. Like, this is a long-term investment that is going to help you and your family build wealth and build assets and have for a long time, like 30 years.
Look at it like this, is that if you bought a house today for, I don't know, we'll just call it $230,000. That was the average, sale price. And so if you bought a house at 230 and, your interest rate as of today is 6.99%, but the annual average appreciation for your equity is at 4.5% per year. And when it comes time for your kids to go to college, or when it's time for you to retire, and if you say it's your forever home, it appreciates at, you'll just call it an average of 4.5% per year. And yes, you bought it at 6.99%, but then rates go down. You have the ability to refinance, and you put yourself in a position to where that payment comes down and you can do whatever that you want to do, put more money on the principal, or you can invest the difference of the money. Now, with that appreciation, you bought it at 230, however many years from now, let's just say here that house is worth $425,000. And when it comes time to retire, comes time for your kids to go to school, come time for your, you need to buy your kids their first car or pay for a wedding, whatever that is, you have the equity in your home to be able to tap into. It is one of the best investments that you can make. Or if you don't need to ever tap into it, when you retire and you're just like, hey, we're going to downsize or do whatever. I have clients who are just like, hey, we're going to sell our house, but now with the equity that we have and our net proceeds, we're going to be able to give each kid X amount of dollars to where they can then go buy their first home. That's amazing. Yeah. And it doesn't always happen to where it immediately, I shouldn't say immediately, but after years that it's doubled in equity, but it does a lot of times. Right. And just compared to what you paid for it and what you've put into it, you can't get that money any other way. Right. And so take advantage of it if you can. Same way for the person who, if you buy, there's a house on Woodrow right now, Woodrow, I think it is, and it's in a foreclosure. It's for $48,000, but the average sale price on a home in the neighborhood is anywhere between 110 to 115. If you could buy it, all it really needs is new flooring and paint, and it might need updated appliances. Right. You put a little bit of money in it. That payment is cheaper than most rent. Even if you don't stay there for a while. It's a 3-bedroom and 1.5 baths. So just simple as that, take advantage of something like that and see what it can do for you personally and your family. Right. But also, maybe that's just not your neighborhood. Cool. But where is your neighborhood? And is there an opportunity similar to that? Right. Or if there is that house out there that needs some TLC, explore your financing options to see what you can do with this. Sometimes
there are loan options that can help you.
It seems like it can be common sense, but unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know. Right. And until you have a conversation and start to really dive into these things, you just will continue to stay in your current situation.
Well, and to kind of piggyback on Massillon and Canton being in this top 3, both of those cities offer down payment assistance programs that buyers don't know about.
Massillon's is better.
Massillon's is better than Canton City, but Canton City still has a program that buyers don't know about. And if you're buying within city limits, because I have a buyer right now who should be reaching out to you. She asked me, she said, we want to stay in Canton City because we want to utilize this, but can we be in Canton local school district or plain local? I was like, yes, as long as you are in Canton City limits. So there are programs out there that most people don't know about. They don't know that they exist, and they are helpful.
Which is crazy. I just don't know, as a community, when these options are available, you have to tell the community. Right. And it shouldn't be because you just randomly stumbled upon something that you get to find out about it. Yeah. And like you just randomly stumbled upon this episode of this podcast and now you know about something and now you want to do some more, research on your own and make some phone calls and what have you. By all means, I'm glad you listened. Thank you.
Right.
Do the research, reach out to us. But I just don't get why they don't advertise it.
I don't know. Especially, again, where Canton is really taking a turn here and it is coming up. And I think we talked about this. We sold a house on Cottage Place. My team did, not me, but it sold for $200,000+ right off of Fulton and Cottage Place, in that neighborhood I grew up. And that's like,
crazy.
To me, I was like, wow. Because when I grew up there, houses were like 35, 40,000. And I loved that area. I still love that area. I have such a love for Canton City and the community and what they're doing there. But to see house prices appreciating that much already, and there's these programs that you can utilize to become a homeowner in the city, why are you not doing that? People don't know about it. And there are times, I'll be honest, I forget it exists as well because
it's not something that is discussed every single day.
Right.
It also just depends on a lot of times, like your typical client isn't always like in need of that. Like, or do they qualify?
Right.
And so,
because that is, of course, you have to qualify. It's not just free money. You have to qualify. There is an application process.
Yes.
But I think especially for us and our goal through this podcast is to show people like homeownership is attainable. Well, here's a resource that you can use in both Massillon and Canton, which, by the way, are top 3 emerging cities in the country. So
you can get the amount of house that you can get in those areas. Like you can get more house in those areas at a affordable price point compared to North Canton, Jackson, Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Those areas.
Louisville,
And sometimes like I get it. If that is maybe you are renting there and you're just like, I don't want to rent here anymore and I want to move to X place, that's fine.
Right.
But how do you put yourself in a position to make that happen?
Right.
If you have young kids, if it's just like, hey, like I'm trying to figure out what school system I want to send my kids to, do some research and see like what is the school system like? Like what are they teaching their kids, especially like, what happens on the bus in these school districts.
Right. Well, and that, again, if you live within Canton City, there is a program where you can send your kids to the private schools in the area.
Yeah.
So there is just so many tools that you can utilize that people just, we say it all the time. It literally needs to be our catchphrase. You don't know what you don't know. That's what we should have named our podcast. You don't know what you don't know. But seriously.
Let's ask Lucas if it's too late to change it. No, I'm just kidding.
No. It's too late for us. But yeah, there's just so many programs and tools that we can help you utilize. And there is not a bad time, at least to start the conversation about buying a house. And there is no bad time.
It's not like this episode isn't about like, hey, let's apply pressure and just like,
buy today. Right now.
But it is to where it's just a little quick reality check of, especially if you're local, you have the ability to see the proof in the pudding to where like these areas are considered to be in the top 3. And you have 2 people sitting here telling you that this is what we see on a day-to-day basis. Like I have a client to where last year she bought 5 investment properties with me between Canton, Massillon, and Akron.
That's awesome.
And between those 5 properties, she makes roughly about a little over like $7,000 a month in rental income.
Right.
And like that's huge. And on all 5 of those, what she pays between her property management team and the mortgages on them might be a little over like $3,000.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Things people don't know. And I think a lot of times they just need to see it in front of them. So, I mean, to wrap this up, there's never a bad time to at least start the conversation.
Yes.
You have that we have access to so many tools and things to help.
But they do too.
You do too, yeah.
That's our purpose here, is that we want to be a resource.
Right.
And so if we can talk to you about like, hey, these are the options and, you know, the tools that you could actually have available to you locally within your community. Like, we want to serve you. And so like, we want to be an asset and a resource to you just because like you are a part of the community, just like we are. And you don't have to wait unless there is something that technically is standing in your way. And if something is currently standing in your way, again, without having the conversation, we can't give you the resources and the tools and the guidance to just say, hey, this is actually when you can take advantage of X, Y, and Z. And this would actually make sense for you to do because of your current roadblock. But if you don't have a roadblock, or if you don't know if you have any because you haven't started that conversation, then like now is a time to have the conversation.
Yep, for sure.
I like this episode.
Me too.
Hopefully
and it helped refresh my memory about tools that I'm not utilizing as much with my clients too. So
yeah,
we all learned something.
Go team.
Well, go team. Okay, well, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Toodles. All right, friends, as we close things out today, remember, homeownership is more than just a roof over your head. It's a symbol of your strength, resilience, and determination.
Take action, embrace growth, and never be discouraged about where you are in your journey.
And remember to follow us on Instagram at Reality of Real Estate Podcast.
Our emails are linked in the description below. You can reach us at
Christopher.Lynch@ccm.com.
And my email is blehmanrealtor@gmail.com.
All right.
Toodles.